What if the very reason you cannot fall asleep has nothing to do with the thoughts in your mind, but with the quiet you have forgotten how to hear? Tonight, you do not have to solve your life. You do not have to find every answer, untangle every memory, or make sense of every unfinished conversation that quietly returns when the lights go out. For this little while, nothing is asking you to be stronger than you already are. Nothing is asking you to hurry. Nothing is asking you to become someone different before morning arrives. Simply allow yourself to rest exactly as you are, breathing gently beneath the soft weight of the night. Perhaps your body has been asking for sleep for hours, yet your mind continues wandering through yesterday, rehearsing tomorrow, collecting worries that have not even happened. This happens more often than you realize. The human mind was never meant to carry every burden forever, yet little by little, we learn to hold on. We hold on to conversations we wish had gone differently. We replay small mistakes until they become much larger than they ever were. We imagine futures that may never arrive, and somewhere along the way, the peaceful silence that once lived naturally inside us begins to feel unfamiliar. Ancient Zen teachers noticed something remarkably simple. They saw that the restless mind is rarely exhausted because it has too many thoughts. It is exhausted because it believes every thought deserves its attention. Imagine standing beside a peaceful lake just before sunrise. The surface of the water reflects the sky with effortless clarity. Then someone tosses a handful of tiny pebbles into the water. Ripples appear, one after another, spreading across the surface. You would never blame the lake for having ripples. You would simply wait, without force, without anger, without demanding anything from the water. Every ripple eventually disappears on its own. Your mind is much like that quiet lake. Thoughts are the ripples. They come because that is what thoughts do. They move because movement is their nature. But somewhere in life, many of us began believing that every ripple required fixing, chasing, analyzing, or resisting. We forgot that still water does not become still by fighting the waves. It becomes still by allowing them to complete their journey. Tonight, perhaps you can give yourself permission to stop chasing every ripple. There is nothing you need to force away. If a memory arrives, let it arrive. If a feeling appears, allow it to sit beside you without becoming your entire world. You do not have to invite it to stay forever, and you do not have to push it out the door. Simply notice that it came, just as a cloud passes quietly across the face of the moon. The moon does not become less beautiful because clouds drift across it. It patiently remains exactly where it has always been. In the same way, beneath every anxious thought, beneath every restless memory, beneath every fear about tomorrow, there remains a quiet part of you that has never disappeared. Zen wisdom has pointed toward this truth for centuries. not as an idea to memorize, but as an experience waiting to be rediscovered. It reminds us that peace is not something we manufacture. It is something we uncover after we stop covering it with endless effort. Maybe you have been trying so hard to become calm that calm itself feels impossible. Maybe every night becomes another task, another challenge, another test you believe you must pass before sleep will finally come. Yet sleep has never responded well to force. Like a shy bird resting on a tree branch, it comes closer when everything around it becomes gentle. It flies away the moment we begin grasping. So tonight, instead of chasing sleep, perhaps we can become friends with stillness. Feel the place where your body meets the bed beneath you. Notice how the mattress quietly supports every part of your weight without asking anything in return. Feel the blanket resting softly against your skin. Listen to the rhythm of your breathing, not because you must control it, but because it has been faithfully accompanying you through every joyful day and every difficult one without ever demanding recognition. With every slow breath, imagine placing one invisible burden beside your bed. Perhaps it is a conversation you cannot change. Perhaps it is a disappointment that still feels heavy. Perhaps it is simply the pressure to always know what comes next. For just this night, these burdens do not need to travel with you into sleep. They can wait until morning, and you may discover that many of them become lighter simply because you allowed yourself to rest before trying to solve them again. There is a gentle story told in Zen about a traveler who spent years searching for a hidden sanctuary deep within distant mountains. He climbed steep paths, crossed rivers, wandered through forests, and asked countless people where peace could be found. Each person pointed farther ahead, and so he continued walking. One evening, completely exhausted, he sat beneath an old tree with nothing left to prove. As the wind moved quietly through the branches above him, he realized something surprising. The silence he had been searching for across valleys and mountains had quietly been waiting inside every breath he had taken along the journey. Nothing new had appeared. Only the endless searching had become quiet enough for him to notice what had always been there. Perhaps tonight, your own journey is not about becoming peaceful. Perhaps it is simply about remembering the peace that has patiently waited beneath every busy thought. There is no race toward healing. There is no finish line hidden somewhere beyond tomorrow. Gentle healing moves like the first light of dawn, almost unnoticed, until suddenly the darkness has softened into morning. It asks for patience rather than perfection. It asks for kindness instead of criticism. Most of all, it invites you to trust that your heart already knows how to return home if you stop pulling it in every direction at once. As this night grows deeper, let every breath become a quiet reminder that you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to pause. you are allowed to release the need to carry everything alone. Whatever happened today has already become part of yesterday. Whatever tomorrow brings has not yet arrived. Between those two places lives this single peaceful moment, and this moment is enough. Stay here for a little while longer. Let your breathing become softer. Let your shoulders become heavier. Let your thoughts drift like leaves floating gently downstream. You do not need to catch them. You do not need to name them. Simply watch them continue their journey while you remain safely on the quiet shore, discovering that beneath every passing thought, beneath every changing emotion, beneath every story the mind has ever told, there is a stillness that has been waiting for you all along. And tonight, perhaps for the first time in a long while, you are finally willing to let it welcome you home. Now that you have allowed yourself to slow down, there is nothing else you need to accomplish in this moment. The night has already accepted you exactly as you are. It does not ask where you have succeeded or where you have fallen short. It does not measure your worth by the number of tasks completed or the expectations you believe you have not fulfilled. The quiet hours have a different purpose. They gently remind us that beneath every role we play and every responsibility we carry, there is a simple human heart longing for rest. Imagine that you are walking along a narrow path through an ancient forest just before dawn. The air is cool and fresh. The earth beneath your feet feels steady. Tall trees rise silently on both sides, their branches swaying almost imperceptibly in a breeze so soft that it seems to carry only peace. There is no destination waiting at the end of this path. There is nowhere you must arrive before sunrise. Every step is enough simply because you are taking it. The forest does not hurry the trees to grow. The sky does not rush the stars to disappear. Everything follows its own quiet rhythm, and somehow all of nature remains in harmony without forcing itself to become anything else. Human beings often forget this rhythm. We become convinced that peace is another achievement waiting on a list. We believe that if we think long enough, plan carefully enough, or worry deeply enough, we can protect ourselves from uncertainty. Yet, ancient Zen teachers quietly observed that the more tightly we grasp at certainty, the farther peace seems to drift away. They did not teach people to stop thinking altogether. Instead, they gently invited them to notice the difference between useful thought and endless wandering. Useful thought appears when it is needed, serves its purpose, and then naturally fades away. Endless wandering circles the same questions again and again, searching for perfect answers that life was never designed to provide. Perhaps you have experienced this yourself. A single conversation replays over and over. A small decision suddenly feels enormous in the silence of the night. A simple mistake grows larger each time your mind returns to it. None of these thoughts began as enemies. They They became heavy only because they were carried long after their work was finished. There is an old Zen image that speaks to this with remarkable simplicity. Picture yourself sitting beside a gentle stream. Autumn leaves drift across the surface of the water, each one carried effortlessly by the current. If you reached into the stream to collect every leaf, your arms would quickly become tired. If you insisted that only certain leaves were allowed to pass, you would spend the entire day struggling against the current. Yet, if you simply watched, each leaf would continue its own journey without asking anything from you. Thoughts are often much like those leaves. Some are bright with happy memories. Others are shaped by worry or uncertainty. A few may seem unusually persistent, floating in circles before finally moving on. None of them require you to climb into the stream. Tonight, perhaps you can remain peacefully on the riverbank, watching each thought appear, linger for a moment, and gently continue downstream. This does not mean ignoring your life. It means remembering that you are larger than every passing thought your mind creates. Beneath the changing weather of the mind, there remains a quiet awareness that simply notices. That awareness has been with you since childhood. It has watched joyful days and difficult seasons alike. It has remained present through every success, every disappointment, every beginning, and every ending. It does not panic when thoughts become noisy, because it knows that every season eventually changes. Even winter quietly gives way to spring without anyone forcing the snow to melt. As you continue breathing softly, allow yourself to notice the simple comfort surrounding you. The steady rhythm of each breath, the gentle support beneath your body, the peaceful darkness that asks nothing from you except your willingness to rest. There may still be unfinished stories waiting for tomorrow, but tomorrow has not yet arrived. Tonight belongs only to this breath and then the next. If your attention wanders, there is no need to criticize yourself. Gently return, just as you might kindly guide a child back to a familiar path. Again and again, without frustration, without judgment, simply return. This quiet returning is itself a form of wisdom. It teaches the heart that peace is never lost for very long. It only waits patiently to be remembered. Somewhere in the distance of our imagined forest, a small temple bell rings once, its clear tone dissolving slowly into the surrounding silence. Notice how the sound appears, lingers, and then fades without resistance. Thoughts move in much the same way when they are allowed to complete their natural course. The silence was present before the bell sounded. It remained while the bell echoed, and it continues after the sound has disappeared. In the same way, the quiet center within you exists before every thought, during every thought, and after every thought has gently passed away. There is nothing you need to add to become whole. There is nothing you must remove before you deserve peace. The ancient path has never demanded perfection. It has only invited sincere presence, one gentle breath at a time. So let the night continue holding you with quiet kindness. Let your breathing grow slower without effort. Let your forehead soften. Let your jaw relax. Let your shoulders become just a little heavier. With every easy exhale, imagine that another small leaf drifts peacefully downstream, disappearing around a bend in the river without asking you to follow. Stay here for a little while longer, allowing the calm beneath your thoughts to become a little more familiar than the thoughts themselves, discovering that the stillness you seek has never been far away, but has patiently remained beside you through every moment, waiting only for your gentle attention. The forest grows even quieter as you continue along the gentle path, and without realizing it, your breathing has begun to follow the peaceful rhythm of the trees around you. Nothing here seems to hurry. The branches sway only when the breeze invites them. The leaves release themselves only when their season has come. Even the smallest stream flowing beside the path does not rush toward the ocean. It simply follows the shape of the land, trusting that every bend belongs to its journey. There is a quiet lesson hidden in this simple scene. Much of our exhaustion does not come from the events of life themselves. It comes from believing that we should always be somewhere other than where we are. While washing dishes, we are already thinking about tomorrow. While resting, we wonder whether we should be working. While talking with someone we love, part of the mind quietly wanders toward unfinished responsibilities. We become divided, living in several moments at once, and the heart grows tired from trying to follow a mind that never stops running ahead. The old Zen teachers often spoke less through explanation than through ordinary moments that revealed extraordinary truth. One evening, a young traveler arrived at a small mountain monastery after walking for many miles. His clothes carried the dust of distant roads, and his face reflected the weariness of someone searching for answers that always seemed just beyond reach. An elderly monk welcomed him with a warm smile and invited him to sit beside a simple wooden table. Without saying a word, the monk placed a small clay teapot between them and slowly poured warm tea into a single cup. The traveler thanked him, but before lifting the cup, he began speaking about all the places he had visited, all the books he had studied, and all the questions that still troubled his mind. He spoke of success that did not satisfy him, of disappointments that still lingered, and of a future that felt uncertain no matter how carefully he planned for it. The monk listened with complete attention, never interrupting. When the traveler finally paused, expecting advice, the monk gently slid the cup across the table and quietly said, "Drink while the tea is warm." The traveler looked surprised. He had expected a long teaching, perhaps a mysterious phrase or a profound explanation. Instead, There was only a cup of tea releasing gentle curls of steam into the cool evening air. Hesitantly, he lifted the cup with both hands. Before taking the first sip, he noticed its warmth against his fingers. He noticed the delicate fragrance rising with the steam. He noticed the silence surrounding the small room. For the first time that entire day, his thoughts stopped reaching toward the next destination. They rested completely inside one simple moment. After several quiet minutes, the monk smiled again and softly asked, "Where did your worries go while you were drinking?" The traveler searched for an answer, but found only peaceful silence. His worries had not been solved. Nothing in his life had changed during those few moments. Yet, while his attention rested fully with the tea, the endless stream of anxious thinking had gently loosened its grip. The monk explained that the mind often believes peace will arrive after every problem has been solved. But life rarely unfolds that way. One challenge gives way to another. One season quietly becomes the next. And if peace always waits beyond the next accomplishment, it remains forever out of reach. Instead, peace quietly lives inside complete attention. It appears whenever we are fully present with what already exists, even if that moment seems small or ordinary. As you listen tonight, perhaps there is no cup of warm tea resting in your hands, yet your breathing can become that same gentle invitation. Feel the cool air as it enters. Notice the warmth as it leaves. There is nothing remarkable about breathing, and perhaps that is exactly why it has such quiet wisdom to offer. It never asks for applause. It never demands recognition. It simply continues, faithful through every season of your life. If your attention drifts away, there is no reason to become frustrated. Minds naturally wander just as birds naturally fly across an open sky. The practice has never been about preventing movement. It has always been about returning with kindness. Every gentle return strengthens the quiet confidence that you are not lost simply because your thoughts wandered for a while. You always know the way back to this breath, to this moment, to the peaceful awareness that has patiently remained with you all along. Imagine now that the stream beside the forest path becomes a little wider, its surface reflecting countless stars scattered across the night sky. One by one, the stars shimmer upon the moving water, never trying to hold their reflection in place. The current carries every image onward, yet the stars themselves remain untouched above. Thoughts behave much like those reflections. They move constantly across the surface of awareness, changing shape from one moment to the next. Awareness itself remains spacious and undisturbed, quietly witnessing every passing image without becoming trapped inside any of them. You do not need to stop the river from flowing. You do not need to freeze the stars in place. You are simply invited to notice that beneath all movement, there is a stillness that has never left you. Allow your shoulders to soften just a little more. Let your breathing settle into its own natural rhythm without asking it to become deeper or slower than it wishes to be. Trust that your body already understands how to rest when your mind no longer insists on carrying every thought to its conclusion. Tonight, there is nowhere else you need to be. The quiet path continues gently forward, one peaceful step, one calm breath, and one simple moment at a time, inviting you ever closer to the steady stillness that has patiently waited within you from the very beginning. The path through the forest gently widens, and the quiet stream continues beside you, flowing with the same calm patience it has carried for countless seasons. Nothing in this place appears concerned with reaching an ending. Every stone rests exactly where it belongs. Every branch leans only as far as the wind has gently guided it. As you continue this peaceful walk, you may begin to notice something changing, not in the forest around you, but within yourself. Your breathing feels softer. The space between your thoughts seems just a little wider. Even if your mind still wanders from time to time, it no longer feels necessary to follow every path it wishes to explore. This quiet shift is often so gentle that it almost goes unnoticed. Yet, it is the beginning of something deeply important. Long ago, an old Zen teacher was asked by one of his students how a peaceful mind could survive in a world that never stopped changing. The student expected a long explanation filled with difficult ideas, but instead the teacher smiled and invited him to follow a narrow trail leading toward a small river hidden among the trees. They walked together without speaking. Birds greeted the morning with simple songs. Sunlight slowly filtered through the branches above, creating moving patterns upon the ground. After some time, they reached a place where the river curved around several smooth stones before continuing its quiet journey. The teacher pointed toward the flowing water and asked, "Can you step into the same river twice?" The student had heard the question before and quickly answered, "No, because the water is always changing." The teacher nodded kindly, but remained silent. They continued standing there together, watching the current move around fallen branches, small rocks, and floating leaves. Finally, the teacher spoke again. "If the river never remains the same, why do you expect your thoughts to remain the same? Why do you become frightened when emotions arrive, as though they have come to stay forever?" The student looked at the water once more. Every moment, new water flowed into view, while the previous water disappeared around the bend. Yet somehow, the river remained a river. It did not resist change. It did not cling to what had already passed. It simply continued flowing according to its own nature. The teacher gently explained that people often suffer not because life changes, but because they quietly hope that pleasant moments will never end and difficult moments will last forever. Both beliefs create unnecessary weight. Joy becomes fragile because we fear losing it. Sadness becomes overwhelming because we imagine it will never leave. Yet, neither experience stays forever. Everything participates in the same gentle movement as the river. Every season arrives. Every season departs. Every feeling rises, remains for a little while, and gradually changes into something new. Perhaps tonight there is a thought you have been carrying for far longer than it was ever meant to stay. Perhaps there is a memory that visits whenever the world becomes quiet. Instead of trying to force it away, imagine placing it beside the river. Watch it become a single leaf resting upon the current. There is no need to push the leaf downstream. The water already knows what to do. In the same way, awareness does not need to force healing. Healing often begins when we stop interrupting the natural movement of the heart. As you continue listening, notice the quiet confidence of the trees surrounding the river. They do not compare themselves with one another. The tallest tree does not apologize for its height. The smallest sapling does not become discouraged because it has not yet reached the sky. Each one simply continues growing according to its own season. Human beings sometimes forget this simple wisdom. We compare our healing to someone else's healing. We wonder why another person appears peaceful while we continue struggling with restless thoughts. Yet, every heart carries different experiences, different memories, and different lessons. Just as no two trees grow in exactly the same way, no two journeys toward inner peace unfold according to the same timetable. There is remarkable freedom in accepting this truth. You do not need to hurry because someone else seems to have arrived sooner. You do not need to criticize yourself because your path still contains questions. Tonight, all that is being asked of you is this single breath, followed gently by the next. Imagine now that you kneel beside the river and place your fingertips into the cool water. The current moves around them without resistance. It does not argue with your hand. It does not become angry that an obstacle has appeared. It simply flows around whatever it encounters before continuing onward. Ancient Zen wisdom often encourages this same gentle flexibility. It reminds us that strength is not always found in holding tightly. Sometimes true strength quietly appears in our willingness to soften, to adapt, and to continue flowing without losing the quiet center that remains within us. As the evening slowly deepens around the peaceful forest, allow your own thoughts to become like the river itself. They may continue moving for a little while, and that is perfectly natural. You do not need an empty mind in order to discover peace. You simply need enough kindness to let each thought arrive and depart without believing that every passing current deserves to carry you away. The stars above continue shining with calm certainty, reflected upon the moving water below. reflection changes with every ripple, yet the stars themselves remain steady in the vast night sky. In much the same way, the quiet awareness within you remains constant beneath every changing experience. Rest there for a while. Let your breathing become your gentle companion. Let the river continue its patient song. Let the forest remind you that nothing beautiful in nature is created through hurry. And perhaps your own heart has always been growing with the same quiet wisdom, one peaceful moment at a time. The gentle path carries you farther into the quiet forest, and almost without noticing, you begin to sense that the silence around you is no longer empty. It feels welcoming, as though the trees, the flowing water, and the cool night air have quietly become companions rather than scenery. The farther you walk, the less you feel the need to hurry. Even the sound of the stream seems softer now, not because it has changed, but because your heart has begun listening differently. There is an old saying among Zen practitioners that an undisturbed pond reflects the moon with perfect clarity. But the moon itself has never depended upon the pond to remain beautiful. The reflection changes with every breeze, every ripple, every falling leaf, yet the moon remains complete above. In much the same way, your true nature is not diminished by anxious thoughts, restless nights, or difficult seasons. Those experiences may temporarily ripple across the surface of awareness, but they do not define the quiet depth that exists beneath them. Long ago, in a small mountain village, there lived an elderly potter whose work was admired throughout the surrounding valleys. Every morning before sunrise, he walked to a nearby spring, carrying 2 simple clay jars. One of the jars was smooth and perfectly shaped. The other had developed a fine crack after many years of faithful use. As he returned home, the cracked jar always lost a little water along the winding trail. One afternoon, the cracked jar imagined that it had become a burden. If it could have spoken aloud, it might have apologized for its imperfection. Believing that it no longer served its purpose, as well as the newer vessel beside it. The old potter, however, continued using both jars every single day without complaint. One spring morning, after years of following the same familiar path, the cracked jar finally noticed something it had never seen before. Along the side of the trail, where it had slowly released drops of water, countless small wildflowers had quietly grown. Tiny blue blossoms, soft white petals, and bright yellow flowers gently swayed in the morning breeze, creating a ribbon of unexpected beauty, stretching all the way from the spring to the potter's home. The perfect jar had carried every drop of water exactly as intended. Yet only the cracked jar had watered the sleeping seeds beside the path. The old potter had always known this. He had never tried to replace the cracked jar because he understood that what appeared to be a flaw had become a quiet blessing in ways that could not be measured. Perhaps there is something within your own life that you have judged too quickly. Perhaps there is a part of yourself that you continue trying to hide because you believe it should have been different by now. Maybe it is a lingering sadness, a season of uncertainty, or a habit of worrying more than you wish. Yet life often reveals that the places where we feel most incomplete become the very places where compassion quietly grows. Those who have known loneliness often recognize another lonely heart with gentle understanding. Those who have walked through uncertainty frequently offer patience to others without even realizing it. The experiences we once wished to erase sometimes become the very roots from which kindness begins to bloom. Zen wisdom does not ask us to celebrate every difficulty or pretend that every challenge feels pleasant. Instead, it gently invites us to stop dividing ourselves into acceptable parts and unacceptable parts. It reminds us that healing begins when we allow every part of our experience to be seen with honesty and kindness rather than constant judgment. As you continue resting tonight, imagine placing all the pieces of yourself into the same gentle light. The confident moments and the uncertain ones, the joyful memories and the difficult lessons, the days when your heart felt light and the evenings when your thoughts seemed endless. None of these experiences need to argue with one another. They may simply exist together, like different seasons within the same landscape. Notice once again the quiet rhythm of your breathing. It does not reject one breath because the previous one was imperfect. Each inhale arrives fresh. Each exhale quietly lets go of what has already passed. Breathing has never expected perfection from you. It has simply continued offering another, beginning with every gentle cycle. Imagine now that the forest opens into a peaceful meadow where the stars shine clearly overhead. A light breeze moves through the tall grass, creating slow waves that travel across the field without resistance. No blade of grass struggles to remain perfectly still. Each one bends with the wind and then naturally rises again. Flexibility, not rigidity, allows the meadow to remain beautiful through every changing season. Perhaps your own heart is learning this same quiet flexibility tonight. Rather than demanding certainty, it is slowly discovering trust. Rather than clinging to every passing thought, it is gently learning to let them move as naturally as the breeze through the grass. This is not a dramatic transformation. It is quiet, almost invisible, like the gradual opening of a flower before sunrise. Yet the smallest changes often become the deepest ones because they ask for nothing except patient attention. If a memory appears, greet it with gentleness. If a feeling rises, allow it a little space without believing it must remain forever. Like the cracked jar watering unseen seeds, many moments within your life have been quietly shaping wisdom that could not be recognized while they were unfolding. You do not need to understand every reason tonight. You only need to trust that growth often continues beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. As the peaceful night grows deeper, allow your shoulders to soften once more. Feel the quiet support beneath you. Listen to the gentle rhythm of your breathing, as though it were the distant song of the forest stream. Let your thoughts drift without chasing them. Let your heart become as open as the meadow beneath the stars, remembering that nothing essential has ever been missing from you. Beneath every changing emotion, beneath every passing season, beneath every ripple upon the surface of the mind, there has always remained a quiet wholeness, patiently waiting for you to notice that it has been here all along. The meadow gradually gives way to another quiet stretch of woodland, where the trees stand farther apart, and the gentle sound of the stream begins to mingle with the soft whisper of evening wind moving through tall pines. The stars have climbed a little higher, and their light settles across the landscape with such calm that it almost feels as though the entire forest has entered a silent meditation. There is no effort in this stillness. It exists without trying to impress anyone. It simply is. As you continue this peaceful journey, you may notice that your own breathing has become less like something you are doing and more like something quietly happening all by itself. This is one of the gentle gifts of slowing down. The body remembers how to care for itself when the mind finally releases its endless instructions. An old Zen teacher once lived in a small monastery overlooking a broad valley where morning mist often lingered until the first rays of sunlight reached the hills. Each dawn, he carried a simple broom and slowly swept the stone courtyard outside the temple. One morning, a young visitor arrived and watched with curiosity. The courtyard already appeared perfectly clean, yet the teacher continued sweeping with complete attention. After several minutes, the visitor finally asked, "Master, why do you sweep every morning when there is almost nothing to remove?" The teacher rested the broom beside him and smiled. "I am not only sweeping the courtyard," he replied. "I am also sweeping the habit of believing that yesterday should remain here today." The visitor looked across the smooth stones, unsure of what those words truly meant. The teacher bent down and gently lifted a single dry pine needle that had settled upon one of the stones during the night. Holding it carefully between his fingers, he said, "This needle belongs to the tree while it is attached. It belongs to the wind while it is falling. It belongs to the earth after it lands. It never argues with where it is meant to be." The teacher released the needle, and the breeze quietly carried it to the edge of the courtyard. "Only the human mind keeps collecting what is already finished," he continued. "We gather old conversations, old disappointments, old fears, and then wonder why our hearts feel crowded. Perhaps there is something inside your own heart that has quietly remained long after its season ended. Not because you wanted to suffer, but because letting go often feels unfamiliar. We sometimes believe that releasing an old burden means pretending it never mattered. Yet Zen teaches something much gentler. Letting go does not erase what happened. It simply allows yesterday to become yesterday, instead of asking it to continue living inside today. Imagine standing beneath one of the tall pine trees surrounding the monastery. Every autumn, the tree releases thousands of needles without sadness. It does not cling to each one, fearing that it will never grow another. It trusts the quiet rhythm that has carried forests through countless generations. New growth arrives because old growth was allowed to fall away. In much the same way, the heart creates space for new peace by gently releasing what it no longer needs to carry. This does not happen all at once. It happens one gentle breath at a time, one kind thought at a time, one small act of forgiveness toward yourself each day. As you rest tonight, there is no need to force yourself to forget anything. Instead, simply notice what you have been holding. Notice it with the same gentle curiosity the old teacher showed toward the single pine needle resting upon the stone. There is no judgment. There is only quiet awareness. Awareness has a remarkable quality. Whatever it touches with kindness begins to soften naturally. Just as morning sunlight slowly dissolves the mist without struggling against it, gentle awareness gradually loosens the tight grip of unnecessary worry. You do not have to command peace to appear. You simply create the conditions in which peace feels welcome. Listen once more to the steady stream nearby. It has flowed through storms and clear skies alike. It has moved around fallen branches, smooth stones, and changing seasons without forgetting its direction. Your own life has also carried you through many changing landscapes. Some days have been filled with joy. Others may have asked more of your strength than you believed you possessed. Yet here you are, breathing quietly beneath this peaceful night, still capable of noticing beauty, still capable of kindness, still capable of rest. That realization alone deserves quiet gratitude. Imagine now that the moonlight reaches the surface of the stream, turning every gentle ripple into a ribbon of silver. The water does not try to hold the moon. It simply reflects whatever appears before it with honesty and ease. Perhaps your own heart can become like that calm water. Rather than trying to possess every pleasant moment or resist every difficult one, it may simply reflect each experience with quiet openness before allowing it to continue on its way. There is extraordinary freedom in no longer asking every experience to remain forever. As the night grows deeper, allow your shoulders to settle a little more heavily. Let your hands become completely at ease. Feel the natural rhythm of your breathing as though it were joining the peaceful song of the forest itself. There is nowhere else you need to travel tonight. The path beneath your feet remains steady. The trees continue their silent watch. The old teacher has long since returned his broom to its place, leaving behind a courtyard that is not merely clean, but open to receive a brand new morning. In the same quiet way, your own heart may slowly become more spacious with every gentle breath, releasing what no longer belongs to this moment, and discovering that beneath the layers of yesterday, there has always been a calm presence, patiently waiting to welcome you into deeper rest. The forest has become so quiet now that even silence seems to have its own gentle voice. It is not an empty silence, but a living one, filled with the soft murmur of the stream, the occasional rustle of pine branches, and the quiet certainty that nothing in this peaceful place is trying to become more than it already is. The moon has climbed higher above the trees, bathing the path ahead in a pale silver light that reveals each stone without demanding your attention. You continue walking slowly, not because there is any destination left to reach, but because every step has quietly become enough. There is something deeply comforting about moving without urgency. Perhaps that is one of the oldest lessons nature has been offering all along. The mountains do not hurry toward the sky. Rivers do not become impatient because the ocean is still far away. Even the stars appear exactly when the night is ready to receive them. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned to believe that our value depended upon constant movement, constant improvement, constant effort. We became skilled at doing, yet gradually forgot how to simply be. The ancient teachers often reminded their students that a peaceful life is not built by escaping the world. It is built by learning how to meet each ordinary moment without carrying the unnecessary weight of resistance. One evening, a young student approached an elderly monk with a troubled expression. He confessed that although he had studied many teachings, his mind still wandered endlessly. Some days he felt calm, only to become restless again by sunset. Other days he judged himself because he believed he was making no progress at all. The monk listened carefully before inviting the student to join him outside beneath a wide cedar tree. They sat together without speaking as the evening breeze moved softly through the branches overhead. After several quiet minutes, the monk pointed toward the tree and asked, "Do you hear the wind?" The student nodded. "Do you see the wind?" The monk asked again. The student smiled and answered, "No, I only see the branches moving." The monk's eyes reflected quiet kindness. "Exactly," he said. "The wind itself remains invisible. You know it only by the way it gently touches the world. Peace is much the same. Many people search for a feeling they expect to arrive all at once. Yet peace often reveals itself in quieter ways. It appears when your breathing becomes softer without your noticing. It appears when a thought comes and goes without pulling you away. It appears when your heart chooses kindness instead of judgment, even for a single moment. The student remained silent as those words settled gently within him. He had been waiting for a dramatic transformation while overlooking the quiet changes already unfolding each day. Perhaps we often do the same. We expect healing to announce itself with certainty, yet healing usually arrives like dawn. At first, the horizon changes by only the smallest degree. The darkness is still present, and yet something has already begun. Little by little, without hurry or noise, the world becomes brighter. If you tried to measure that change from 1 second to the next, it would almost seem invisible. Only after some time do you realize that morning has quietly arrived. Your own heart often heals in exactly this way. Tonight, you do not need to search for proof that you are becoming more peaceful. Instead, simply notice the gentle signs that may already be present. Perhaps your shoulders feel slightly lighter than they did a little while ago. Perhaps your breathing has settled into an easier rhythm. Perhaps there are longer spaces between the thoughts that once seemed to arrive without end. These quiet changes deserve your trust, even if they appear almost too small to matter. Every great forest begins with seeds hidden beneath the earth. Long before anyone sees branches reaching toward the sky, patient roots are already growing in darkness. In the same way, much of the deepest healing happens where the eyes cannot see. Every moment of gentle awareness becomes another unseen root extending into steady ground. Every kind thought toward yourself strengthens the quiet foundation beneath your life. Imagine now that you pause beside the stream once more. The water reflects the moon with remarkable clarity because it is no longer disturbed by strong winds. Even when a single leaf touches the surface, the ripple slowly widens before quietly disappearing. The reflection returns without effort. The stream does not become frustrated because it was briefly disturbed. It simply settles again. There is wisdom in that gentle patience. You do not need to become disappointed each time your mind wanders. You do not need to begin again with frustration whenever old worries appear. You simply return, just as the water naturally returns to stillness. Again and again, with quiet compassion, you come back to this breath, this moment, this peaceful path beneath the moonlit trees. There is no failure in returning. Returning is the practice itself. The old monk eventually stood and gently brushed a few cedar needles from his robe before smiling at his student. The tree does not ask the wind to stop blowing, he said softly. It simply learns to bend without breaking. Those words remained with the student long after that evening ended, not because they solved every question, but because they quietly changed the way he looked at each passing day. Perhaps they may accompany you tonight as well. You do not need a life without change in order to discover peace. You do not need a mind without thoughts in order to rest. You simply need the willingness to return gently and patiently each time your attention drifts away. The forest continues to breathe around you. The stream continues its timeless song. The moon continues shining without asking for recognition. And somewhere beneath every passing thought, your own quiet heart has been waiting with the same patient kindness, ready to welcome you home each time you remember that nothing beautiful in nature ever blooms by force, but only through steady presence, gentle trust, and the quiet courage to remain exactly where this peaceful moment has found you. The night has grown wonderfully deep now, and the quiet path seems almost timeless, as though it has existed for every traveler who has ever searched for peace with an honest heart. The forest no longer feels unfamiliar. The trees have become silent companions. The flowing stream has become a familiar melody, and the gentle moonlight resting across the winding trail seems to illuminate not only the ground before you, but something much quieter within your own awareness. There comes a moment on every peaceful journey when the traveler slowly realizes that the landscape has not changed nearly as much as the one who has been walking through it. Perhaps that moment has quietly arrived for you. Your breathing has become steadier. Your thoughts still appear from time to time, but they no longer seem to demand that you chase each one into the distance. Instead, they arrive like distant birds crossing the night sky before disappearing beyond the trees. The sky itself remains unchanged. Long ago, there was an elderly lantern keeper who lived alone beside a narrow mountain bridge. Travelers crossed the bridge every evening before darkness settled across the valley. And every night, the lantern keeper walked from one wooden post to another, carefully lighting each lantern before the first stars appeared. One autumn evening, a young traveler stopped to watch him work. The traveler noticed that the old man carried only a single small flame inside a simple clay lantern. Yet from that one quiet light, he illuminated every lamp along the bridge. Curious, the traveler asked, "Do you never worry that your little flame might not be enough to brighten such a long path?" The old man smiled gently as he lit another lantern. "A single flame has never been asked to illuminate the whole journey at once," he replied. "It only needs to light the next few steps. After that, the following lantern continues the way." The traveler looked across the bridge, stretching into the evening mist. From where he stood, he could not see the opposite side. Yet one by one, each lantern quietly awakened, creating a ribbon of warm light reaching farther into the darkness than seemed possible only moments before. The old keeper continued speaking in his calm voice. "Many people become frightened because they believe They must see the entire road before taking the next step. They wait for complete certainty before allowing themselves to rest. But life has always been kinder than that. It offers enough light for this moment. And when this moment has been lived with awareness, the next light naturally appears. The traveler remained silent for a long while. He realized that much of his anxiety had never come from the unknown future itself. It came from demanding answers that tomorrow had not yet been asked to reveal. Perhaps your own heart has known this feeling. There are nights when the future seems like a long road disappearing into darkness. The mind tries to travel every mile before morning arrives. It imagines conversations that have not happened, challenges that may never come, and possibilities that exist only as shadows within restless thought. By the time the body is ready for sleep, the mind has already attempted to live through countless tomorrows. Yet none of those imagined journeys has changed this single peaceful moment. The old lantern keeper understood something beautifully simple. Peace does not come from seeing every answer. Peace comes from trusting the light that is already here. Tonight, that light may be nothing more than your next gentle breath. It may be the comforting weight of the blanket resting across your body. It may be the quiet rhythm of your heartbeat, or the soft awareness that you are safe in this present moment. These simple things are easy to overlook because they are always with you. Yet they have quietly carried you through every season of your life. Imagine now that you are standing beside the lantern keeper as he finishes lighting the final lamp. The bridge glows softly beneath the evening sky. Beyond it, the valley rests peacefully beneath silver moonlight. No part of the landscape appears to hurry toward tomorrow. Even the mist drifts slowly between the hills, as though it understands that there is nowhere else it needs to be. The old man closes the small door of his lantern and turns toward you with the same gentle smile. Without offering another lesson, he simply begins walking home at an unhurried pace. Somehow, his silence teaches even more than his words. You begin to understand that wisdom often sounds less like complicated explanations and more like quiet confidence. It is found in ordinary gestures performed with complete attention. It lives inside slow footsteps, patient breathing, and hearts that no longer insist upon controlling everything they cannot see. As you continue your own peaceful journey through this moonlit forest, imagine carrying that single lantern within yourself. It is not a bright, overwhelming light. It is gentle, warm, and steady. It does not erase every shadow from the path ahead, nor does it need to. It simply reveals the next step with quiet faithfulness. Every calm breath becomes another lantern. Every kind thought toward yourself becomes another lantern. Every moment you choose presence instead of unnecessary worry quietly lights another small section of the road. Before long, you realize that what once appeared impossibly dark has gradually become gentle enough to walk through without fear. Listen again to the stream flowing nearby. Notice how it never rushes toward the sea, yet it never stops moving. Feel the cool evening air resting lightly upon the forest. Allow your shoulders to soften even more. Let your hands become completely at ease. There is nothing else you need to understand before resting tonight. The journey has never asked you to carry the entire path at once. It has only invited you to trust the quiet light already waiting inside this breath, inside this peaceful moment, inside this gentle heart that has continued walking with quiet courage through every changing season of your life. And as the stars continue their silent journey across the night sky, perhaps you begin to sense that the light you have been searching for has never been somewhere far ahead. It has been patiently glowing within you all along, asking only that you become still enough to notice its quiet and unwavering presence. The quiet bridge slowly disappears behind you, yet its gentle lanterns continue glowing in memory, not as lights left behind, but as quiet reminders that every peaceful step has already become part of your own journey. Ahead, the forest opens into a broad clearing where the trees stand in a wide circle, protecting a still lake that rests beneath the night sky like polished glass. The moon is reflected so perfectly upon the water that it becomes almost impossible to tell where the sky ends and the lake begins. You pause without speaking, and for a few peaceful moments, there is nothing to do except breathe and quietly observe. The longer you remain beside the lake, the more you notice that it never struggles to create such beauty. It simply becomes still enough for beauty to reveal itself. There is an old Zen story about a young painter who traveled many days to seek the guidance of a master whose landscapes were admired throughout the mountains. When the student finally arrived, he expected lessons about brushes, colors, and careful technique. Instead, the master led him to a small lake much like this one. They sat together from sunrise until evening without painting a single line. As the sun slowly crossed the sky, the young painter became restless. Finally, he asked, "Master, when will you begin teaching me?" The old man smiled gently and pointed toward the water. "Tell me what you see," the student answered quickly. "I see the mountains, the clouds, the trees, and the sky reflected on the surface." The master nodded. Then he picked up a tiny pebble and allowed it to fall softly into the lake. Gentle circles spread outward until every reflection began to dance and blur. "And now?" the master asked. The student looked again. Now everything is broken. The mountains are no longer clear. The clouds have disappeared. The reflection has been lost. The master quietly shook his head. Nothing has been lost. The mountains have not moved. The sky has not changed. Only the water is moving. The student remained silent as the ripples slowly became smaller. One by one, the reflections quietly returned exactly as they had been before. The master looked toward the peaceful lake and spoke so softly that his words seemed almost carried by the evening breeze. Most people believe their peace has disappeared whenever the mind becomes restless. Yet peace is like the mountain. It remains where it has always been. Restlessness belongs only to the surface. Those simple words remained with the young painter for the rest of his life. He eventually realized that he had spent years trying to repair the reflection while forgetting to trust the mountain itself. Perhaps many of us do the same. We believe that every anxious thought means something inside us has been damaged. We imagine that every restless night proves we have somehow lost the calm we once hoped to find. Yet, what if calm has never truly left? What if it has only been hidden for a little while beneath passing ripples that were never meant to remain forever? As you continue resting tonight, imagine your own awareness becoming like this quiet lake. Thoughts may still arrive. Memories may briefly touch the surface. Feelings may create gentle circles that spread outward for a little while. There is no need to become afraid of them. There is no need to chase them away. Every ripple already carries within it the promise of stillness, because movement naturally becomes quiet when it is no longer disturbed by resistance. Listen carefully to the sounds surrounding the lake. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls softly into the night. A cool breeze brushes gently across the water before disappearing into the trees. Tiny reflections of countless stars shimmer upon the surface without making a single sound. The entire forest seems to understand something that human hearts often forget. Nothing here argues with the present moment. The trees do not wish they were younger. The water does not wish it had flowed more quickly. The stars do not compare themselves with the moon. Everything quietly fulfills its own nature without needing to become anything else. Imagine now that you kneel beside the edge of the lake and gently place one hand above the cool surface without touching it. Beneath your hand, the moon continues shining from within the reflection. It does not ask the water to remain perfectly still forever. It simply waits with quiet patience whenever a breeze arrives. There is remarkable kindness in such patience. Perhaps you can offer that same kindness to yourself tonight. If your thoughts wander tomorrow, you may gently return. If worry visits again another evening, you may gently return. If peace feels distant for a little while, you may gently return. There has never been a limit to how many times you are welcome here. Every breath is another invitation. Every quiet moment becomes another homecoming. The young painter eventually thanked his teacher, but before leaving, he asked one final question. Master, how will I know that I have truly learned? The old man smiled with the warmth of someone who had long ago stopped measuring progress. One day, he said, you will stop trying to force the lake to become still, and you will simply sit beside it until it remembers its own nature. Tonight, perhaps those words belong to you as well. You do not have to force your heart into peace. You do not have to command your thoughts into silence. You simply remain here with gentle awareness, allowing the natural wisdom already living within you to unfold in its own quiet time. The lake continues reflecting the moon. The forest continues breathing beneath the stars. Your own breathing rises and falls with effortless rhythm. Somewhere beneath every passing ripple, the calm mountain remains exactly where it has always been, steady, patient, and quietly waiting for you to discover that it has never once stopped holding the peaceful center of your heart. The still lake gradually fades behind you as the path rises gently toward a quiet hillside where the forest becomes lighter and the trees begin to open into a peaceful grove of ancient pines. Their tall trunks reach into the night like silent guardians who have watched countless seasons come and go without ever losing their quiet dignity. The moon continues its patient journey across the sky, and its gentle light filters through the branches in long silver ribbons that rest softly upon the earth. There is something about this place that feels deeply familiar, even if you have never stood here before. Perhaps every peaceful place eventually reminds us of the home we have been searching for inside ourselves. As you continue walking, you notice that the path no longer asks for your attention. Your feet seem to know where to go. Your breathing has settled into an easy rhythm. Even the silence has changed. Earlier in the journey, it felt like something you were trying to reach. Now it surrounds you so naturally that you almost forget to notice it. This is often how quiet wisdom enters a life. It does not arrive with excitement or loud certainty. It becomes so gentle that one day you simply realize you are no longer carrying the same weight. Long ago, on another mountain far beyond these forests, there lived an elderly gardener who cared for a temple courtyard filled with flowering trees. Every spring visitors traveled from distant villages to admire the blossoms. One year, a powerful storm passed through the valley just before the flowers reached their fullest beauty. By morning, many branches had been scattered across the ground, and countless blossoms rested upon the stone pathways. The younger monks felt discouraged. They hurried outside with worried faces, believing the garden had been ruined. Yet, when they found the old gardener, he was quietly sweeping the fallen petals into small circles beneath the trees with the same calm expression he carried every day. One of the younger monks asked, "How can you remain so peaceful after losing so many beautiful flowers?" The old gardener smiled gently without stopping his slow movements. "Nothing has been lost," he answered. "The blossoms have simply changed where they belong." The young monk looked around with confusion. But yesterday, they were alive in the branches. The gardener nodded. Yesterday, they belonged to the tree. Today, they belong to the earth. Tomorrow, they will belong to the soil that nourishes another spring. The younger monk became silent as he watched the pale petals resting across the dark ground. The garden had not become less beautiful. It had simply become beautiful in a different way. The old gardener continued speaking. Much of our suffering begins when we decide that beauty is only allowed to appear in one form. We resist change because we mistake changing for ending. Those words drifted through the quiet courtyard like the fragrance of the blossoms themselves. Perhaps your own heart has known moments when something precious changed before you felt ready. A season of life quietly ended. A familiar routine disappeared. A dream unfolded differently than you expected. It is natural to feel sadness when life changes. Zen never asks us to pretend otherwise, but it gently reminds us that life is constantly transforming rather than constantly disappearing. The blossoms become soil. The soil becomes roots. The roots become new branches. The branches become flowers once again. Nothing stands still, yet nothing meaningful is truly separate from the great rhythm of becoming. Imagine now that you are standing beside the old gardener as dawn slowly begins touching the distant horizon. The first faint colors of morning appear, though the stars are still quietly shining overhead. Around you, thousands of fallen petals cover the ground like a soft blanket of light. The gardener places his broom aside and simply watches the gentle breeze move through the trees. Not one petal tries to return to its branch. Not one branch mourns the petals that have already fallen. There is complete trust between the tree and the changing seasons. The tree understands something the human mind often forgets. Life knows how to continue creating beauty even after every ending. As you breathe slowly tonight, perhaps there is something within your own life that has quietly been asking for this same trust. Maybe there is a chapter that has already completed its work. Maybe there is an old expectation that no longer needs to be carried. You do not need to push it away. Like the blossoms, you may simply allow it to settle where it now belongs. Every gentle exhale becomes another soft release. Every calm breath creates a little more space inside your heart. Notice once again how the forest around you remains perfectly at ease. The pine trees do not rush the sunrise. The breeze does not cling to yesterday's leaves. Even the moon continues crossing the sky without wishing it could remain exactly where it was an hour ago. Everything participates in the quiet dance of change without fear, because nothing in nature mistakes change for failure. Perhaps this is one of the deepest forms of healing. Not the ability to prevent life from changing, but the quiet confidence that your heart can remain open as it does. As the first gentle hint of dawn slowly brightens the edge of the sky, the forest becomes even more peaceful. Birds have not yet begun their morning songs. The world rests within a beautiful space between night and day, where everything feels suspended in gentle stillness. Let your breathing join this quiet moment. Feel the calm support beneath you. Allow every muscle to soften a little more. Imagine the old gardener offering you one final smile before returning to his simple work, knowing that another season will come when the trees are ready. In that same quiet spirit, allow your own heart to rest without asking it to bloom before its time. The seasons already know their way. Your breath already knows its rhythm, and the quiet wisdom that has been walking beside you through this peaceful night continues gently unfolding, one calm moment after another, reminding you that the deepest peace is not found by holding tightly to what has passed, but by trusting the quiet beauty that is already beginning to grow where you least expected to find it. The first quiet colors of dawn remain only a promise resting beyond the distant hills, while the forest continues to breathe beneath the fading stars with the same gentle patience it has carried throughout the night. The air feels softer now. The cool breeze no longer seems to awaken restless thoughts. Instead, it moves through the branches like a familiar friend, carrying with it the quiet understanding that every peaceful journey eventually becomes less about discovering something new and more about remembering what has always been present. You continue along the narrow path, and after a short distance, the trees open to reveal a small wooden pavilion overlooking the valley below. It is simple, weathered by many seasons, and completely still. There are no decorations, no grand carvings, no signs announcing its importance. Yet something about its quiet presence invites you to pause. You step inside and sit upon the smooth wooden floor, listening as the distant stream, the gentle wind, and the whispering pines blend into a single peaceful melody. Long ago, this pavilion was visited by an elderly monk who had spent decades teaching without ever believing that wisdom belonged to him alone. One evening, a traveler climbed the mountain hoping to receive the final answer to a question that had troubled him for many years. After offering a respectful bow, the traveler asked, "Master, when does a person finally become peaceful?" The monk did not answer immediately. Instead, he poured 2 cups of warm tea and placed one before the traveler. They sat together for a long time without speaking. The tea gradually cooled. The evening sky slowly darkened. The first stars appeared one after another above the valley. Finally, the traveler spoke again. "Master, have you forgotten my question?" The old monk smiled with quiet warmth. "No," he replied. "I have been waiting for you to notice something." The traveler looked around in confusion. He saw the cup of tea, the wooden floor, the distant mountains, and the peaceful night, yet he remained uncertain. The monk gently asked. During these quiet moments, while you watched the stars appear and listened to the wind moving through the trees, where was the question you believed you could not live without? The traveler became still. He searched his mind and realized that for several peaceful moments, the question had simply disappeared. It had not been answered. It had not been solved. It had quietly fallen away because his attention had rested completely inside the present moment. The monk nodded softly. Many questions are carried only because we continue feeding them with constant attention. Some deserve careful thought. Others quietly dissolve when the heart remembers how to rest. Those words settled gently into the silence between them. The traveler looked once more toward the valley, where the stars reflected faintly upon a winding river below. For the first time in many years, he understood that peace was not waiting at the end of every unanswered question. Peace had been quietly waiting beneath the endless habit of asking them. Perhaps tonight there are questions that have followed you for a long time. Questions about the future. Questions about choices already made. Questions about whether you are doing enough, becoming enough, or understanding enough. Some of those questions may eventually find their answers through time and experience. Others may slowly lose their importance as your heart becomes more spacious. There is quiet freedom in allowing life to reveal itself gradually, instead of demanding every answer before you are willing to rest. The forest outside the pavilion offers this lesson without speaking a single word. The trees never ask when the next season will arrive. The mountains do not wonder whether tomorrow's sunrise will be beautiful enough. The stream does not pause to calculate every turn waiting farther downstream. Each simply continues expressing its own nature with complete trust. Imagine yourself remaining inside the pavilion for a little while longer. The wooden floor feels steady beneath you. A gentle fragrance of pine fills the cool morning air. Somewhere nearby, a single bird offers the first soft note of the coming day before falling silent again. Even this small sound seems perfectly placed within the stillness rather than interrupting it. You notice something beautiful. The silence has not disappeared because a bird began to sing. The silence has simply become large enough to welcome every sound without losing itself. Your own awareness can become just like this. Thoughts may appear. Emotions may gently rise and fall. Memories may visit from time to time. Yet the quiet space that notices them all remains undisturbed, wide enough to welcome each experience without becoming trapped inside it. This spaciousness has always belonged to you. It does not need to be created. It only asks to be remembered. Allow your breathing to become as natural as the breeze moving through the open pavilion. Feel the steady rhythm of your heartbeat. Let your face soften completely. Release any remaining effort to understand every lesson perfectly. Wisdom grows much like the forest itself. It unfolds slowly, almost invisibly, through countless quiet moments of simple presence. Every gentle breath has already become part of that growth. Every time you returned to this peaceful path, instead of following another restless thought, another quiet root reached deeper into the soil of your heart. As the horizon slowly brightens with the first gentle light of morning, the old pavilion remains exactly as it has always been, offering shelter without asking for recognition. In the same quiet way, the peaceful awareness within you continues offering its calm presence through every changing season of your life. It has waited patiently beneath every worry, every hope, every question, and every dream, never asking you to become perfect before returning home. Tonight, and in every quiet moment that follows, may you remember that the deepest answers often arrive not as words, but as a heart that has finally become still enough to recognize it was never separate from peace at all. The eastern horizon now carries the faintest whisper of morning, yet the world still belongs to the gentle embrace of night. The stars have begun to soften, not because they have lost their light, but because they are quietly making room for another kind of light to arrive. The forest understands this graceful exchange without hesitation. Nothing struggles to remain. Nothing fears what comes next. Every branch, every stone, every blade of grass seems to trust the quiet rhythm that has guided the earth through countless dawns before this one. You continue along the familiar path until it gently rises toward a small hill overlooking the valley. From here, the winding stream, the peaceful lake, the old bridge, the wooden pavilion, and the distant grove all seem to belong to one continuous landscape. As you look across them, you realize that every place you have visited during this quiet journey has never truly been separate. They have simply revealed different faces of the same peaceful world, just as every calm moment has quietly revealed another layer of your own heart. At the top of the hill rests a single weathered stone bench facing the awakening sky. You sit upon it without hurry. The air is cool against your skin, carrying the clean fragrance of pine, damp earth, and fresh morning. Somewhere in the distance, a single bird greets the coming day with a gentle song, then falls silent again, as though even the birds understand that silence is not the absence of music, but the place from which all music begins. Long ago, an elderly calligrapher lived in a quiet village beneath the mountains. His brushwork was admired not because every line was perfect, but because each stroke seemed completely alive. One day, a young apprentice asked him the secret behind such peaceful writing. The old man did not answer with words. Instead, he spread a blank sheet of paper before them and rested his brush upon the table without lifting it. Minutes passed in complete silence. Finally, The apprentice asked, "Master, why do you not begin?" The old man smiled gently. "Because the blank page is already complete. Before I place a single mark upon it, I must first remember that I am not trying to improve its silence. I am simply joining it." The apprentice looked at the untouched paper with new eyes. It no longer appeared empty. It felt full of quiet possibility. The master finally dipped his brush into ink and painted one graceful line across the page. It was simple, effortless, and alive. Then he placed the brush aside. Many people fill every empty space because they are afraid of stillness, he said softly. Yet stillness has always been where wisdom quietly waits. Those words remained with the apprentice throughout his life. Years later, he realized that the lesson had never been about calligraphy. It had been about living. Human hearts often become tired because they believe every silence must be filled, every pause must be explained, every uncertainty must be solved. Yet nature quietly teaches the opposite. The pause between two breaths is peaceful. The space between two waves allows the sea to rest. The silence between birdsong makes the next note even more beautiful. Perhaps your own heart has been longing not for more answers, but for more space. Imagine now that the stone bench beneath you becomes as steady as the mountain itself. You are in no hurry to stand. There is nowhere you need to go before this morning arrives. The valley below remains peaceful. A light mist drifts slowly across the stream, and the surface of the lake still reflects the fading stars with remarkable gentleness. Everything appears to be breathing together. You begin to notice that your own breathing has quietly joined this rhythm. There is no effort in it now, no instruction, no attempt to become calmer. Calm has simply appeared because nothing inside you is demanding that it arrive more quickly. This is one of the quiet gifts that cannot be forced. It reveals itself when striving gently steps aside. Think for a moment about the many stories you have quietly walked beside during this journey. The stream never hurried. The lantern keeper trusted a single light. The old gardener welcomed the falling blossoms. The lake reflected the mountain without trying to hold it. The monk waited patiently for the question to disappear on its own. None of them offered complicated answers. Together, they revealed one gentle truth from many different directions. Peace has never been hiding somewhere far away. It has always been patiently waiting beneath the habit of constant grasping. The sky above continues growing lighter. One by one, the brightest stars quietly disappear into the approaching dawn. They do not resist leaving. They know that nothing beautiful is truly lost when another form of beauty begins. In the same way, perhaps you no longer need to hold so tightly to every passing thought. You may allow them to fade naturally, trusting that what truly belongs to your heart will remain without effort. Feel your shoulders becoming softer, Feel the muscles around your eyes completely relax. Let your hands rest with quiet ease. Every gentle breath becomes another empty page, another open sky, another peaceful lake waiting without expectation. You do not need to write anything upon this moment unless life gently invites it. You do not need to improve what is already whole. Simply remain here for a little while longer, sitting beside the awakening world as though you have nowhere else to be. The hill, the forest, the stream, and the growing light continue offering their silent companionship. And somewhere within the quiet space that has slowly opened inside you, there is a calm presence that no longer feels distant or mysterious. It feels familiar, as though you are finally remembering a home that has never once forgotten your name, patiently waiting through every season until you became still enough to recognize that you had been carrying it within you all along. The first light of morning now rests gently upon the highest branches of the ancient pines, touching them with a quiet golden glow that feels less like the arrival of a new day and more like a gentle blessing offered to everything that has patiently waited through the night. The stars have almost completely faded from the sky, yet nothing about their disappearance feels like a loss. They have simply completed their work, making space for another kind of beauty to appear. You remain seated upon the quiet hill, looking across the valley, where every place you have visited now rests together as one peaceful landscape. The winding stream continues its endless song. The still lake reflects the growing light. The old bridge stands with quiet dignity. The wooden pavilion remains open to anyone seeking a moment of stillness. The grove of pines breathes softly in the morning breeze. Nothing asks to be remembered because nothing fears being forgotten. Everything simply belongs. As you quietly observe this gentle world, you may begin to notice that something inside you has also become quieter. Not because every question has been answered, not because every memory has disappeared, and not because life has suddenly become simple, but because your heart has slowly remembered that peace was never created by controlling every moment. Peace has always been discovered by resting gently inside the one that is already here. During this long and quiet journey, you have walked beside flowing water that never resisted its path. You have watched lanterns illuminate only the next few steps without worrying about the entire road ahead. You have stood beneath trees that trusted every season. You have listened to teachers whose greatest wisdom was often found in silence rather than explanation. You have watched a still lake reveal that the mountain never disappears when the surface begins to ripple. You have seen blossoms become earth without losing their beauty. You have learned that empty space is not something to fear, but something that quietly welcomes life itself. None of these moments asked you to become someone new. They simply invited you to stop believing that you had ever been separated from the quiet place you were seeking. Perhaps this has always been the gentle secret carried by forests, rivers, mountains, and morning skies. They never hurry because they never doubt that each moment belongs exactly where it is. They never compare one season with another because every season offers its own quiet gift. They never hold tightly to yesterday because they already trust tomorrow without needing to see it. Nature has never forgotten how to rest inside the present. Tonight, and now as this peaceful dawn begins, perhaps you have remembered a little of that forgotten language as well. Feel your breathing once again. Notice how each gentle inhale arrives without effort, and each soft exhale quietly releases itself without asking permission. Your breath has remained faithfully beside you through every joy, every uncertainty, every beginning, and every ending. It has never judged you for the nights when your thoughts wandered. It has never abandoned you during difficult seasons. It simply continued, patient and steady, waiting for the moment when you would notice its quiet companionship once more. Allow your body to become completely supported by the place where it rests. There is nothing left to carry for now. Whatever has happened before this moment may remain in the past with kindness. Whatever tomorrow may eventually bring can patiently wait until tomorrow arrives. This single peaceful breath is enough. This quiet heartbeat is enough. This gentle awareness is enough. Imagine the morning light slowly spreading across the valley below, touching the stream, the lake, the bridge, the pavilion, and every ancient tree with the same gentle warmth. It does not choose one place over another. It simply offers itself freely to everything. In that same quiet way, may you offer a little more kindness to yourself, not because you have become perfect, but because you have never needed perfection in order to deserve peace. There may still be days when your thoughts become busy again. There may still be evenings when old worries briefly return like passing clouds across the sky. When they do, perhaps you will remember the quiet lake that never lost the mountain beneath its ripples. Perhaps you will remember the lantern that only needed to illuminate the next few steps. Perhaps you will remember the gardener smiling gently as blossoms found new places to belong. Perhaps you will remember the empty page that was already complete before the first brushstroke appeared. These memories do not ask you to become wiser overnight. They simply remind you that you already know the way home. Home is not a distant destination, hidden somewhere beyond another achievement, another answer, or another perfect day. Home is the quiet place within you that has patiently remained unchanged while every season of life continued passing by. It has waited through moments of happiness and moments of uncertainty with the same steady presence. It has never hurried you. It has never judged you. It has simply remained here, quietly welcoming you each time you remembered to return. morning birds now begin singing more freely throughout the forest. Their gentle voices weave together with the sound of the flowing stream, creating a melody that feels both new and ancient at once. The breeze carries the fragrance of pine, fresh earth, and the promise of another peaceful day. The world awakens without noise, without struggle, and without asking anything from you except this one final gift. Allow yourself to rest completely. Release the need to understand every mystery. Release the habit of carrying yesterday into tomorrow. Release the quiet belief that you must always be searching for something beyond this moment before you can finally be at peace. There is nothing more you need to become right now. There is nowhere else you need to arrive. Let your breathing grow softer still. Let your thoughts drift as gently as morning mist lifting from the valley. Let your heart become as open as the wide sky, welcoming the rising sun. And if sleep has already found you, may it hold you with the same quiet kindness that the forest offered throughout this gentle night. If you are still listening, may these final moments remind you that you do not need to struggle against your mind anymore. You do not need to carry every burden into another day. You may simply rest. You may simply breathe. You may simply allow the quiet wisdom that has always lived within you to continue its gentle work while you sleep, trusting that peace does not need to be forced. Because, like the morning light now touching every corner of the valley, it has always known exactly how to find its way to you.